It's December of 2019. We're being pushed by a schedule to jump out against the trade winds to make further easting progress to get to Barbados soon. We're going to have to face 10 to 15 foot waves once we get clear of the upper section of the island chains. And what we're about to find out in the dark tonight is there are brutal currents in the St. Lucia Channel. The recent heavy rains on the island of Martinique has caused a lot of fresh water to push out to the sea. This has washed away a lot of logs, trees, and branches. We have to be on the lookout and not take the logs. Something you probably do not know about is that due to the widespread use of pesticides and DDT in the 1970s and 80s, the soil in Martinique is contaminated. It's quite toxic. So after heavy rains like this, the toxins push out into the bays. Sailors are warned not to run their water makers after a recent rain. The recent brown water toxic runoff from the land has changed the color of the water in the bay. Dark green water like this is really quite rare in the Caribbean. You know, as a really experienced blue water sailor, the thing that gets under your skin after a while is that every disaster story always starts out with everything seems so fine at first in the beginning. As we are making our way out of the protected bay in Martinique, we have to station somebody on the bow to keep a lookout for the logs and trees that are washing out to sea. We certainly wouldn't want to run into them and crack our boat right at the very beginning. I once met a boat in St. Augustine, Florida that ran into a log while sailing, and it put a serious crack in the hull. They had to haul out for $20,000 worth of repairs. It doesn't look like much, but it is a big danger. This is pretty much an entire tree. Ram this and the big bang will be very bad for you. Because of the heavy rains, it's washed all the debris out of the rivers into the bay. We have to stand somebody at the nose on the bow to look for logs and major debris like this, because we don't want to run that stuff over. The sail out of Martinique is peaceful and lovely downwind as the sun sets. It's around just after 6. You can see we're coming around the corner from the mountain, and now we're getting exposed in the gap. We're technically aimed at Barbados, and if this is as bad as the waves are, then that's fine. We can live with this. You can see it's a little rolly, a little smashy. The nose is burying. We're about 15 knots of wind. We're moving slow because we reefed the sails to be safe. Like, okay, we're rolling in 2-meter waves, but it's nothing dangerous. If this is the ocean for the whole sail to Barbados, we can live with it. Although we're not making a lot of forward progress in these big swells. Oh! 24 more hours of this to go, I guess. Originally, I think that I'm having trouble with light winds fighting against big swell in the St. Lucia Channel. What I spend the rest of the night struggling with, and I figure out eventually, is that the St. Lucia Channel has brutal opposing currents funneling through the gap. These currents are so strong that I'm forced to tack back and forth several times just to get out into open water where I can bear off. really don't feel good. The waves, like the motion of the waves is really playing havoc on my blood pressure problem, my heart condition. I gotta go on deck now though to furl the storm sail, and one of the solar panels is broken free along the bottom. It ripped off all the zip ties. I don't feel good, so I'll be tethered in. Elena will keep an eye on me, but this isn't gonna be fun. I know you guys always want to see it. You always want the camera there at the critical, scary, and exciting times, but clearly I'm busy, and the bad shit always happens at night. But think about it. For those zip ties on the bottom of that solar panel to break free, it means it must be underwater. It must be getting washed by waves so big and so severe it rips it free. We had a rough sail last night. We were rail in the water, and the side rail getting washed so hard it ripped all those zip ties off. But I get it. On camera, it never looks like much. Sailing really is not a visual thing. It's a visceral experience. It's something that you feel in your blood, your bones, your muscles, your head, your stomach, your guts. Sailing brings you joy, brings you terror, brings you awe, brings you fear, brings you up and brings you down. But you sit here all day, up and down, 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 until you feel like puking. But it never stops. Just relax. To those of you who still have romantic visions of sailing, what do you think it really means? This is it. We took turns sitting at the helm, babysitting the instruments, adjusting the sails, keeping an eye out, and our bodies just taking a constant beating. Sailing is not as exciting as you dream it is.
Huh?
Level the camera to the horizon, not the boat. For 30 hours, we do not leave the cockpit. We take turns shifting off at the helm. One gets to sleep on the low side while the other one has to babysit the boat, adjust the sails, watch the instruments, and keep us going. Through sunny skies, through cloud, through rain, through night, through day, the sailboat just keeps going, and somebody has to babysit her to help her along. And that's it. 30 hours. Just like this. So it's Saturday now and the sun is starting to set. We both just puked again. The ocean's not awful, like the waves are now less than 10 feet, but they're disorganized and they're kind of smashing against each other, so the motion of the boat is very erratic. It's when the boat does large and fast, like rises and falls, that gets really hard on my stomach. And then when Elena sees me woof, she woofs too. Sorry. I feel like a bad captain for letting my crew down. We're not having fun. Like we're just taking turns every 2 to 3 hours, shifting off at the helm, like between laying here and laying there. There's nothing around and nothing to see. It's just a constant beating. The storms that hit us were not too bad. Like they were calm. Like they only gusted up to 25 or 26. Nothing severe like the other night. We expect to reach the wave protection of Barbados by 1 a.m. We should be around the vicinity of an anchorage by around 3 or 4 a.m. Nobody really wants to anchor in the dark, but it should be full moon. We're just really excited to get out of these waves, like they're just smashing constantly. And you thought sailing was fun.